the substance of things hoped for. What is this flame that burns unseen, yet lights the path where man has been? It lifts the soul, it stills the storm, a quiet strength in unseen form. It is not touched, it is not heard, yet it upholds the spoken word. It stands when sight and sense have fled. This is the faith by which we're led. Faith is the breath before the dawn, the whisper when all hope is gone. It sees a harvest in dry land, and places seeds in God's own hand. It walks on waves, it climbs the sky. It trusts when logic asks it. Why? It does not flinch, it does not fall. It leans on him who made it all, the substance of what eyes can't view. Yet in the heart, it feels so true. It holds tomorrow like a friend, and sees beyond what time can bend. While others scoff and call a dream, faith builds a bridge across the stream. It walks through fire and never burns, for in its heat, God's glory turns. When Abraham heard, "Leave your land," he went, not knowing what was planned. Faith was the compass in his soul that led him toward a distant goal. He pitched his tents in foreign sand, still waiting for God's promised land. He looked for cities not yet shown, built by a hand he had not known. When Noah heard the heavens speak, he built an ark on barren peak. Though mocking voices filled the air, faith drove each nail with silent prayer. And when the floods came crashing loud, faith held him safe above the cloud. For what he hoped was not in vain. The proof arrived in holy rain. When Sarah laughed in disbelief, faith turned her doubt to joy and grief. Her womb, once dead, now bore a flame, because she trusted in his name. The child of promise came in time, a miracle by God's design. And through that seed, like stars at night, faith birthed a nation shining bright. Faith saw the Red Sea split in two, and made dry ground where waters blew. It marched around great Jericho, and watched the mighty walls let go. It tamed the lions in their lair, and turned the edge of sword with prayer. It quenched the flame, endured the chain, still praising God through loss and pain. Faith does not need a sign or proof. It walks beneath an unseen roof. It takes the hand of God each day, and follows where he leads the way. It holds to hope with steady will, when mountains rise and time stands still, and when all else is stripped and gone. Faith finds its strength in God alone. So when your night is dark and long, when all you knew feels false or wrong, let faith arise, that sacred core, the substance of what we hope for. It is the key, the light, the flame, that bears you up in Jesus' name. Not built on sand, not tossed by fear. Faith sees what others won't draw near.
By faith they lived and conquered. By faith they lived and conquered all, though oft they stood where few would call. Their names now echo through the skies, as stars of old that never die. Not crowned with gold, nor dressed in fame, but honored for their faith and flame. Abel's altar, crimson stained. By faith did Abel bring his best, a lamb so pure, a heart at rest. His worship rose like morning dew, while Cain grew dark with jealous hue. Though Abel fell by brother's hand, his faith still speaks across the land. A witness bold, a voice so clear, that faith costs much but brings us near. Enoch walked where angels tread. By faith, Enoch pleased the Lord. No sword he drew, no mighty horde. He walked with God from day to day, until the veil was drawn away. No grave would claim his quiet name, for faith had lit his soul with flame. He vanished not by death or fear. God took him to the upper sphere. Noah built with silent tears. By faith, Noah heard the rain before it fell, and heeded truth the world would quell. He built an ark through jeers and scorn, by night by day through every storm. Though skies were blue, he swung the wood. Each hammer rang, God said I should. And when the flood rose like a tide, faith bore him up, the world denied. Abraham the pilgrim's soul, by faith he left familiar ground. His kin, his roots, the walls he'd found. He journeyed far with tent and staff, his only guide a holy path. No map he held, no charted way, yet God was near by night and day. He saw the stars, he heard the call, and built an altar through it all. He climbed the hill, his son in tow. By faith he raised the knife to show that God was worth his every breath, his every dream, his fear of death. Yet in that hour God did provide. A ram appeared, and faith stood wide. He named that place the Lord will see, a truth that echoes still in me. Sarah's laugh and lasting joy. By faith, old Sarah held her womb, though years had sealed it as a tomb. She laughed at first, a wavering sound, yet God's own word would soon resound. She bore a child in aged grace, and saw God's promise face to face. Faith turned her weakness into might, and filled her tent with morning light, and countless more, both known and veiled. By faith the countless stories rise, of those who saw through heaven's eyes. They faced the sword, the flame, the chain. They welcomed loss and bore the pain. They wandered deserts, caves, and hills, with hearts that beat to Zion's thrills. The world was not their only prize. They sought a home beyond the skies. By faith, they quenched the lion's roar. They broke the gates, they won the war. They ruled with hope, endured the rod. Their every step was led by God. They were not perfect, strong, or proud, but faith in God spoke clear and loud. So now, dear soul, arise and stand. You walk today where walked this band. Let Abel's worship stir your song. Let Enoch teach you faith lifelong. Let Noah's hammer shape your will. Let Abraham be with you still. Let Sarah's joy in barren years remind you, faith will dry your tears. By faith they lived and conquered true. And now by faith so can you.
Not seeing, yet believing. They wandered far in desert land, with hopeful hearts and weathered hands. No temple walls, no resting place, but eyes that search for signs of grace. No promise bloomed before their eyes, yet still they trusted in the skies. They lived as strangers, far from home, yet never felt they walked alone. They saw a city not yet raised, a throne unseen, a king not praised, a land not drawn on earthly chart, yet real within the faithful heart. By tents and trails they pitched their years, through joy and loss, through pain and tears. Each step they took, they followed light that shone beyond the veil of night. They died in faith, still holding fast, though dreams remained in future cast. Not bitter that the prize was far, they journeyed guided by a star. For faith had eyes beyond the grave. It sees the lamb, it trusts the wave. They welcomed promises afar, like sailors steering by a star. No crown adorned their brow or head, no palace room, no feathered bed. They walked in rags, they bore the rod, yet never ceased to trust their God. They said, "This world is not our own. We seek a higher, brighter throne." They greeted trials with faithful breath, believing God was true in death. Abraham saw beyond the dust, to cities built by hands he'd trust. He pitched his tent, but looked above, where walls are forged in perfect love. Isaac blessed with future grace. Though distant still, he saw God's face. Jacob leaned on staff and prayed for promises that never swayed. Joseph spoke of coming days, when God would lead them from delay. Though in a coffin he would lie, his bones would one day testify. He said, "Don't leave me here alone." God swore to give us all a home. He saw the exodus to come, though Egypt's chains had yet to run. They did not build their lives on sand, but trusted in the Master's hand. They did not claim the earth as end, but sought the skies where angels bend. Their eyes were filled with future things, a kingdom ruled by holy kings. They longed for better, heaven-born, a place untouched by death or scorn. And God, who saw their steady flame, was not ashamed to bear their name. He carved for them a place above, a city built with endless love, for those who trust and still press on, though answers wait until the dawn. A crown awaits, a glory wide, prepared for faith that will not hide. So we, like them, must run our race, with eyes not fixed on time or place. We too may not receive it all before we hear the final call. But we believe, and so we wait, with anchored hope and open gate. Not seeing, yet we still believe. For faith holds fast and won't deceive. Let storms arise and shadows fall. Let silence echo heaven's call. We walk by faith, not what we see, and trust the one who holds the key. For just beyond the veil, so thin, our promised rest waits deep within. And though this world we may not win, a better one draws us in.
Of whom the world was not worthy. They bore no crowns, no purple thread. No glory marked the paths they tread. The earth refused to call them great. Yet heaven carved their names in fate. With hearts of flame and souls of gold, they faced the night, alone and bold. The world passed by their blood-stained story. Yet they were clothed in quiet glory. They wandered deserts, caves and stones, with only prayers to break their moans. The wind their cloak, the stars their light, their tears the ink of sacred fight. They dared to hope though swords were drawn, and sang when every right was gone. The chains they wore became their wings. Their silence roared in heaven's rings. They would not yield to tyrant's hand, nor trade their faith to spare their stand. They faced the rack, the flame, the spear, and smiled through every pain and fear. Some tortured long, refusing grace, for they beheld a better place. Their eyes saw far beyond the grave, the God whose word they died to save. They lost their homes, their rights, their breath, but gained a crown beyond all death. They wandered sheepskins, scorched and torn, despised, rejected, bruised and worn. No anthem played, no crowd would cheer, yet angels wept and heaven drew near. For every wound a pearl was sown, in lands where God would greet his own. A nameless throng, a silent choir, who passed through flood and walked through fire. Their stories lost to time and page, yet echo on from age to age. They toppled kings with whispered prayer. They conquered realms by standing there. They didn't fight with swords of steel, but faith became their shield and zeal. Some watched their children torn away, and still they knelt alone to pray. Some kissed the stones of martyrs' cell, and still declared, all shall be well. They tasted scorn, they drank the dust, yet in their pain they dared to trust. No wealth, no fame, no final word. Oh, the songs their spirits stirred. The world dismissed them as too small, unfit to rise, unfit to call. But God looked down with holy pride, and called them his saints, his bride, of whom the world was not yet worth. These strangers walked a richer earth. Their blood a seed, their loss a gain. Their tears like oil, their scars like rain. So let us not forget their names. Though lost in time, they lit the flames. They show us how to trust, to fight, to walk by faith and not by sight. And when the shadows fill our days, let us remember all their ways. For in their steps we find our call, to stand, to love, to give our all. Of whom the world was not found true, yet they were true through all they knew. And when we meet them face to face, we'll bow before their quiet grace. No titles need adorn their tale. Their faith in Christ will never pale. Unseen, unknown, but not unsung. Their victory hymn is just begun.
In conclusion, so now we stand where they once stood, upon the edge of fire and good. Their shadows stretch across our days. Their faith still lights our narrow ways. We bear their torch with trembling hands. We walk the road where courage stands. For every tear, an unseen fight. God sees it all and crowns it right. Their voices call from sacred ground, where martyrs sleep without a sound. They whisper, press those skies grow dim, for every trial leads back to him. O church, arise with heart made whole. Their story lives in every soul. Not lost, not gone, not left behind, but sealed in grace by God's design. And when at last our race is run, our battles fought, our stories done, we'll find them waiting, crowned and bright, in robes washed clean in heaven's light. And all the saints, once scarred and trod, will stand as one before their God, not mourned, but praised eternally, of whom the world was not worthy. So press on, beloved, lift your face, run with endurance, filled with grace. The road is hard, the night is long, but faith will make the weak heart strong. You're not alone. God walks beside. An angel's camp where saints abide. Your story too, he's writing still. So trust his will and climb the hill. For there's a crown beyond the flame, prepared for those who keep his name. Stand firm in hope. Hold fast your song. The faithful rise. You do belong. Please share, like, comments, and subscribe for more biblical insights and powerful teachings.